This thinker, his own understanding forged as his Jewish parents fled Vienna from World War II's horrors, makes us seriously question our deepest beliefs. Peter Singer's 1975 Animal Liberation became a lightning rod, widely seen as igniting the modern animal rights movement. He even tried bringing his ideas to the political stage, running for the Australian Senate. His utilitarian ideas often courted intense debate, particularly his views on the moral permissibility of infanticide in certain heartbreaking circumstances, arguing that newborns don't possess the same moral status as adults due to lacking qualities like rationality and self-awareness. This wasn't just abstract theory. It led to protests when he arrived at Princeton and drew fire from figures like Simon Wiesenthal, who called his stance unacceptable, and powerful challenges from disability activist Harriet McBride Johnson. Yet, through all the controversy, Singer's unwavering commitment to rational ethics has continued to make him a celebrated, if polarizing, voice. Peter Singer champions animal rights, arguing sentient beings deserve our moral thought. This view, built on utilitarianism aiming to crank up overall well-being, coins speciesism, a highbrow term for discriminating against other species, just like racism or sexism. When he looks at factory farming, he doesn't pull any punches, saying these practices cause immense suffering and are morally wrong, flat out, unless they bring benefits so huge they genuinely make up for all that pain. Singer believes the line we draw between humans and animals is just completely made up. His work really got the animal rights movement fired up. He does admit that, okay, maybe eating meat could be permissible if animals are raised really humanely, but the massive suffering in industrial agriculture makes vegetarianism pretty much a moral duty. He points to shocking estimates of 970 billion to 2.7 trillion fish caught annually under cruel conditions. Singer himself is a committed vegetarian, leaning towards veganism, though he sometimes eats shellfish because, as he notes, they don't have a central nervous system. Peter Singer's insight is that charitable actions can be our greatest positive impact, but to maximize this, he argued in Famine, Affluence, and Morality that affluent individuals have a moral duty to help those in extreme poverty. His famous drowning child analogy remains deeply challenging, suggesting failing to act is as morally culpable as ignoring that child when the cost to ourselves is minimal compared to the immense benefit for others. This philosophy, foundational to effective altruism, steers away from merely emotion-driven donations. Instead, it champions donating to meticulously evaluated charities delivering maximum, measurable impact, such as interventions for malaria prevention or deworming programs, which offer huge benefits for every dollar spent. Singer's happiness engine. This is the heart of his philosophy, utilitarianism, a moral idea that judges actions by how much they boost overall happiness or well-being. His first version was preference utilitarianism, where the big goal was satisfying the preferences of every being involved. But Singer's thinking evolved, you see. He later embraced hedonistic utilitarianism, a shift towards maximizing pleasure and minimizing pain, which he laid out in his 2014 book, The Point of View of the Universe. This change wasn't random. It showed his belief in objective moral values, things you can figure out with reason, a more solid base for that happiness goal. Now this utilitarianism sometimes gets a bad rap. Singer knew this, saying to The Guardian, "But that's a very crude caricature of utilitarianism." And then he explained, "If reading Pushkin gives you more pleasure than walking in good boots, then you should read Pushkin." So clearly it's not just about crude pleasures, it understands deeper joys too. His whole approach is practical. It's about using reason for real-world stuff like animal rights, global poverty, and tough bioethics questions, always stressing fair thought for all sentient beings' interests. And when critics say, hey, that's asking too much, Singer's response is that what we should do morally should line up with the good we can actually create. So his utilitarianism is both a guide for thinking and a direct call to get out there and act ethically. Singer's philosophy sparks intense debate by tying the right to life to personhood, rationality, self-awareness, and autonomy. This means newborns or individuals with profound cognitive impairments lacking these might not possess the same moral standing as persons, leading to his shocking assertion that killing a newborn baby is never equivalent to killing a person. For Singer, if personhood is absent amid severe suffering, infanticide or non-voluntary euthanasia might be permissible, starkly contrasting traditional views. These ideas ignited a firestorm, with figures like Simon Wiesenthal labeling them unacceptable. Interestingly, Singer's own journey with his mother's Alzheimer's added nuance, acknowledging emotional complexity even as he remains committed to minimizing overall suffering. Here, Singer did his standard thing on global poverty and our moral responsibilities. Again, the normal view is that distance or the sheer number of people needing help somehow lessens our obligation, that our duties are mostly to those nearby. Not so, argued Singer. The problem, he said, is that this thinking doesn't hold up, famously using his drowning child analogy to illustrate how failing to donate to effective charities is morally similar to neglecting to save a child drowning right in front of us when we easily could. His central thesis, often summed up by his point that, if it is in our power to prevent something bad from happening, without thereby sacrificing anything of comparable moral importance, we ought morally to do it, suggests these obligations are truly global. Singer noted that this idea wasn't just academic. It helped ignite the effective altruism movement. And with practical efforts like The Life You Can Save, an organization he founded to push for high-impact giving, the concept gained real-world traction, even getting endorsements from figures like Bill and Melinda Gates, who highlighted its relevance to modern philanthropy. That's what made Singer's call to prioritize truly effective interventions so challenging and properly transformative for how society views charity and our fundamental moral responsibilities.